Hello everyone, this is Tom Morley, and this will be the 5th video in the Let's Make a Game series for the Space Blasters 84 game. This video is going to be on the heads-up display. We are going to create some text for when the game initially starts up, and then when the game is running we need to have a score, so we'll have that up on the screen. And when the game is over, we want to see some text as well as maybe a high score and a notification saying that the game is over. So let's get started. We'll open up Space Blasters 84 project, and we will create a new node. And it's just going to be regular node. This will be the heads-up display root. We're not working in 3D, so we'll click on the 2D tab. We're going to use the mouse button so that we can see all of the real estate we have. And we need 3 labels for this particular HUD. So make sure your HUD is highlighted, click new node, grab a label, do the same thing, grab a label, and one more time. And I goofed up and didn't have HUD highlighted, so I'm going to have to click on this label and reparent it to my HUD root. Reparent. There you go. So all 3 labels are parented to my HUD root. Rename this label to the score. This label will be our menu at startup. And this label will be our game over. Label. Okay. So we have 3 labels and we can adjust them. This will be the score, so we would expect to see this label somewhere in the neighborhood of the upper left hand corner. Our menu, well, that will fill more of the screen, so we expect that to be somewhere around the middle of the screen when we first start our game up. And the game over label will be about the same location. So one of the first things we need to do, I guess, is put some text in here. So let's go over here to the inspector and put some text in there. I clicked on the paragraph icon right here, and we're just going to say score colon, and we're going to put a 0 in there, and now we'll close. And you'll see that it did put score in there, but it's very small. So just like the earlier video, we're going to need to import the font we want to use, the source location. Should know where that is by now. We're going to use the Chintzy CPU font, and we'll have a size of 60, and we're going to put it into a new folder. Create a new folder called HUD for our HUD scene and other pieces of the HUD. We will name this Chintzy. And click import. Now with the label score selected, let's go over to the inspector, scroll down, and grab or load the new font in HUD. There we go. And let's just give it a custom color of, let's give it a green color, just so that we can see it. And let's add a little bit of shadow, probably 3 in both the X and Y. And let's save this scene. We'll save it in HUD. Of course, we'll name it HUD. .scn. Now if we click play, we should see, yep, our score up at the top. Maybe we'll move that down just a little bit. Take another look at that. Yeah, that looks okay for now. The menu is going to pop up when we first start the game, and I have some pre-built text over here that I'm just going to copy and paste in. You can put anything you want for your main menu. And I'm going to copy that. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on my paragraph icon and I'm going to paste my text in there. I've just got FOSS 365 presents Space Blasters 84, part of the Let's Make a Game tutorial series with the Godot game engine. Press enter to start. So if I close that, you'll see it's in very small font size here. Again, we need to load the font we want to use, which is the Chintzy, and we need to change it to the green color. I don't know what I put. Let's just make it easy and we'll say it's 180. Click on it again. Change this to 180. Oh, okay, I'm going like it didn't change it because it's highlighting my game over menu. So let's click on the label menu and change the color to 180. And shadow of 3 on both the X and Y. And take a look at that real quick. Yep, looks pretty good. And I believe there is a way to center the text. There it is right there underneath the text. You've got the align section. It's to the left, but let's click on center, and that is more like it. Let's click on label menu and let's move this out of the way. Let's move the game over menu out of the way for just a second and position the menu item first. Let's take a look at that. That's okay for now. Now the game over menu. Let's move that over. Let's, for the label menu here, click on the eye, and that will make it so that we don't see the menu label. Okay, in here I have some text for that as well, and click on the paragraph, make sure the game over is selected, click on the paragraph, paste it in there, click close, and alignment we want center. I'm going to go down and load the font. Adjust it a little bit. Move it down. Put a little bit of shadow on it. And we will save this. And this one was a pretty quick one. That's it for the HUD. We needed to have a label for the score. We needed a menu when the game first started up, and we wanted the game over information as well. So we know that when the game starts, we want both the score and the menu visible. We can turn off the game over menu. We'll save that. Now that we have the label set up, we need to implement some code in the HUD as well. This HUD should have 3 basic behaviors. So let's create those behaviors by adding a script to the HUD root. So make sure your HUD root is selected and click the button to create a new script. It wants to create it in the HUD folder and call it HUD, so that's great. We'll leave it at the default settings and click create. We need to set the game over behavior. We need to set the running behavior of the heads up display, and we need to update the score as well. We'll need 3 separate functions. So let's create the first function. We're just going to call it set lowercase s set game over. And set game over is going to accept a variable, and we'll call it high score. So this function, you're going to be able to pass it a high score. What are we going to do with that high score? Well, let's get a node, and it's going to be the label game over node, and we'll set some text in that node. Set text, and here's where we're going to create a string that will hold the, and I'm going to just copy and paste this in here so it's a little bit faster than me manually typing it in. Basically, we're going to get a node, which is our game over game label. We're going to set the text to a string, and that string is going to have some information as well as the high score that's passed to this function. We're going to put that in the string as well. So when we call the set game over, it's going to pass the high score to this string and update our game over label. And then of course we need to see it, so we'll get the node, and again it will be the label game over, and we want to see it, so dot show. So that will be the function that we'll call when we want our game to end. So the game will end, and if we have a high score, it will pass it to this function and update the label. The next one we need to do is when it's running. So we'll create a function set running. In this one, all we need to do is we need to get the game over node. We need to hide it. And we need to get the label menu node. We need to hide that too. And that's our state for the game running. And we need to be able to update the score. So we need a function to do that. Function set the score. And of course we need to pass the score to this function, so we'll call it the score. We got to get a node again. This time it'll be the label score. And we need to set that text to score. And again, we'll put some placeholders in there. We'll fix this later, but it'll just get us up and running for now. Plus, again, cast the integer that's passed to us to a string so that we can concatenate them together. And enter. Okay, so we have the game over behavior for the heads-up display. When the game is running, we have some behavior, and we have some behavior to update the score when the game is running as well. So that should be all we need, and we can add this to the main scene. So let's save this. Let's open up the main scene, and let's add the heads-up display, which I've already added. Let me delete this one. Forgot to delete that before I started the tutorial. So yours will look like this, and then all you need to do is make sure your root is highlighted, click on the plus, go to your heads-up display folder and double click on the HUD scene, and you'll have it, you'll see it show up in your main root. Okay, it's working. So we incorporated the heads-up display in the main scene. Now we need to glue all these pieces together, and I think I've gone long enough on this video, so the next video is just going to be a little bit of cleanup on the scripting code in the main scene, and we'll glue the heads-up display to our game so that we can see the score update and the high score update when we press the spacebar. Okay, so stick with me, and we'll see you in the next one.